Danny Gorog. Good afternoon.
Hi, Tony.
How common is this problem?
Well, it's common and it's getting more common. Certainly, that's what the stats from Snaps and Solve say. So last year, 16,613 reports, up around 42% from the year before.
That's 300, over 300 a week.
Yep. Yeah. So we're doing, that's exactly right. So it's pretty common, and but I checked on the success rate. So we track the success rate of Snaps and Solve based on what snappers tell us they're seeing, and pretty encouraging that 91% of people who reported an abandoned car said that problem was solved. Now, I don't have how long it took. You asked the question about what happens with abandoned vehicles. Now, it's mainly this is my understanding, and I'm not a lawyer, it's mainly a local government responsibility, and they have the Local Government Act stipulates what they need to do if they get notified of an abandoned vehicle. So they sort of need to try to identify it, then they need to provide a owner notification and a waiting period. I think some councils also need to do public notification and some record keeping stuff, and then move to dispose of the unclaimed vehicle. So there is a process that needs to be gone through and followed, but Snaps and Solve seems to be a pretty effective channel for the public to report those abandoned vehicles when they see them.
I used it I used your app for, it was a Volkswagen Golf that would have only been about 10, 12 years old, abandoned, but crammed with stuff as well, and got onto the council. They did do something about it. Are you surprised by how, relatively young some of these cars? Because you can assume that they're all 30 years old and they're bombs, but that's not necessarily the case, is it?
Well, look, we don't, with 16,000 reports, we certainly don't look at each one of them. I think it goes to, what are the commercial aspects about getting rid of it yourself, or just, making it an abandoned car. It's a little bit like the dump rubbish problem, If it's more expensive to take it to the tip and get rid of it yourself, well, unfortunately, the way that it works is it's cheaper just to chuck it out on the sidewalk and let someone else deal with the problem. And I think it's a similar problem, certainly not in anywhere near the quantity of reports we see for dump rubbish. But that's the issue we're dealing with. And until there's a better solution, I'm not sure what changes.
In the reading I did, the finger was pointed at international students who go back overseas, or backpackers, the same thing. Do you have any kind of profile of who is doing it?
No, we don't. We don't collect that, and we don't have that. I mean, I think that's something that, you might be able to get out of some of the local governments if they actually collect that. But, I suspect for privacy reasons, they wouldn't make that available.
Okay. I'm not saying the Serbs are doing it either, so I don't want to take old Tony Jones on me. Now, what about burnt out cars? Does your app handle that as well, if you have seen that?
We do. We see that, and we shared some photos with Bianca, the producer, and we see that pretty commonly. I don't have the stats on that specifically, because that just goes underneath the abandoned vehicle. But certainly, the photos help identify those, and I suspect if the car's been burnt out, there's a faster process the local government can go through, because they can't identify it potentially, and they just need to get rid of it. So unfortunately, these things just live on our streets, and they're a frustrating part of being in the community.
Well, they certainly are. Cars abandoned and burnt out. They sound like they work behind the scenes at afternoons here at 3RW. Thank you for that, Danny Gorog, founder of Snaps and Solve.
Thanks, Tony.